Someone drew my attention to this post the other day and asked for my thoughts. Here's what the post says. Nigerians love to announce how tough their PhD journey was, but never the impact of their PhD research to developing Nigeria. Google was a PhD research. LED improvements over the years were as a result of numerous PhD researches. In Nigeria, it's mostly I suffered for 6 years, blah, blah, blah. So what's our national priority? Impact or endurance trophies, or just the title to appear superior? Now I will answer this simply. People talk about their realities. PhD graduates of Nigerian universities, when they talk about how tough their journey was, it is because their journey was actually tough. The PhD journey in Nigeria is tough, rough, and in most of the cases, like practically dragging someone through the stony grounds of Golgotha. So that's their reality that they talk about. But I agree that the journey can be tough and still be impactful. But lest you misunderstand the essence of the PhD program. To my second point, the PhD program is not an end in itself. It is a means to an end. It is the final stages of training in academic research and writing. So the PhD program is meant to mold researchers. For more insight into this, I will refer to Professor Paul K.H. Tam, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Vice President Research of the University of Hong Kong. Here's what he says about the PhD program. A PhD is about pursuing knowledge for the passion of acquiring knowledge. Take note of that. If one is fortunate, one's discovery or invention may even change society. Now, look at it. If one is fortunate, it may. In other words, the essence of the PhD program is to train that researcher. And the very PhD thesis or the PhD research that this person does may or may not. It is not compulsory that it should be like that research that gave us Google or the research that led to LED improvements over the years. No. And to further the discussion, here's what Dr. Koma of Purdue University writes on notes on the PhD degree. He says, to earn a PhD, one must master a specific subject completely, and one must extend the body of knowledge about that subject. In some cases, the results of scientific research can be used to develop new products or improve those that exist. However, scientists do not use commercial success or potential commercial profits as a measure of their work. They conduct investigations to further human understanding and the body of knowledge humans have compiled. Often, the commercial benefits of scientific research are much greater in the long term than in the short term. What we need to understand when we say, what's the impact of your PhD research, is that this person, this PhD graduate, has been trained as a researcher. Not necessarily that that thesis, that research that the person did to earn a PhD must be something that changes society in a fundamental way. Again, when we also talk about impact, impact is not always measured in terms of the tangibles. We will be making a huge mistake if our concept of impact is in terms of tangible things. There are many PhD researchers who work in intangible areas that their researches may have affected shifts in policies. You might not really know that it is their research that has led to this shift in policy in this area or that area. So let us stop piling unnecessary pressure on PhD researchers to do things that are outside the core essence of their programs. And then when we talk about Google and LED improvements over the years being as a result of PhD researches, we miss the point. Do we really know how many PhDs are produced in the US, the UK, Canada, or other advanced countries every year? What could we say are the contributions of these PhD researchers if we are looking at it in concrete terms? But then we know that contribution to knowledge does not always translate to something huge. Sometimes it's just that advancement of knowledge. Someone has done this research up to this point, and left some gaps. The next person fills up those gaps and still creates room for other gaps that other researchers would look into. That's the essence. I hope this is clear enough.